and Yashoda and those who had parental affection for Krishna, they were feeling the ecstasy of distress. There's a particular verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam where Shukadev Goswami explains, when Krishna and Balaram were crawling around Vrindavan, their mothers, Rohini and Yashoda, were always worried. They were thinking that they may get stabbed by the horn of a cow or a bull, or they may get scratched by the teeth of a dog, or the teeth or the claws of a monkey or a cat, or they may crawl into a thorn that pierces their body, or they may get damaged by the rocks and the stones in the road, or a calf or a cow may step on them. In this way, Krishna's mothers were always immersed in the transcendental ecstasy of anxiety. This is bhakti. Srila Prabhupada, our beloved Guru Maharaj, by his example and by his inspiration, he didn't teach us to avoid anxiety. He taught us to be absorbed, whatever situation, in loving service to Krishna. And if we're actually absorbed in such a spirit to serve, then our anxiety only intensifies our ecstasy. Madhu Mangal, he said, don't anybody think that Krishna's tired, because by my Brahman Tejas, I am chanting mantras, and that is causing Giriraj to float in the sky. And Yashoda Mai, she was looking up at Krishna, and she was thinking, this mountain is so hard, and it's so heavy, and it's so huge, and it's on my little son's finger. It must hurt him so much, and he must be so tired. It's already been so many hours that he's holding up Govardhana Hill, and look, there's perspiration on his hair and on his face. And Krishna said, my mother, don't think like this. I'm just having fun. He said, because we please Govardhan so much, he's so happy, he's just floating. I'm just an instrument standing here, but actually Giriraj doesn't weigh anything by his own. Yashoda Mai said, how can you say that holding such a hard, heavy thing is happiness? If Giriraj is actually floating, then tell him to remove himself from your finger and float around in the sky to show me. Madhu Mangal said to Yashoda Mai, he said, why are you speaking like this? Yashoda Mai said, my son is so impudent, he's so naughty. Why did he have to anger Indra like this? Madhu Mangal said, if Indra wasn't angry, we wouldn't be having this incredible festival of standing under Govardhana Hill with Krishna. In this way, there was beautiful reciprocations according to each devotee's ras or particular temperament of love with Krishna. But it was an incredible festival, because all day and all night, for even a moment, no one was separated from Krishna. The rains were pouring down on top of Govardhana Hill. But please understand this. These rains of devastation pouring so hard. And Indra was sending countless of the most powerful thunderbolts in the universe on Govardhan Hill. But because Giriraj was feeling the touch of the tip of the finger of Krishna's left hand, Krishna was investing so much nectar and so much love, so much ecstasy into Govardhan, that even though he's a massive mountain, that little tiny tip of a finger touch infused him with so much happiness, made him so totally indestructible that he didn't feel anything. He felt the thunderbolts to be like showers of soft lotus flower petals. He felt the rains of destruction to be a very pleasing abhishekam. In fact, instead of causing any destruction to Govardhan Hill, the more the rain fell, the more Govardhan Hill glowed with beauty and ecstasy as it was just being cleansed and nourished by the rains. Days were passing. Indra was becoming so frustrated. The strongest winds of the universe were all completely fixed on Indra's destruction, with the instruction on the one mission of blowing Govardhan Hill off Krishna's finger. But they couldn't do it. Meanwhile, the wild animals that were living on top of Govardhan Hill, they were so empowered by Krishna's little finger and by his mercy and blessings underneath the hill. Even though they were on top of the hill, they were completely happy. The lions, they were so empowered by Krishna underneath that they went to the peaks of Govardhan Hill and they saw these massive Samvartaka clouds, very fearful. And the lions were thinking these are big elephants, and they started roaring, and with their claws started scratching at the Samvartaka clouds, and this was too much for the clouds. They scattered in all directions to escape from the elephants who were empowered by Krishna. The peacocks were dancing blissfully. There was a storm out on the top of Govardhan Hill, and there was another type of storm underneath Govardhan Hill. The rainbow was Krishna's peacock feather on his hair. The rain cloud was Shyam Sundar, the beautiful monsoon-like complexion of Lord Krishna. The lightning was Krishna's lightning-like colored dhoti and outer cloth. And the love that was pouring from Krishna's glance and from Krishna's lovely smile was like a storm that was flooding the hearts of all the Brajvasis. And the Kaustubhamani on Krishna's chest was like the sun that was illuminating all directions. Indra was really getting frustrated. Meanwhile, as he was increasing the intensity of his attack, with his left hand, Krishna was holding Govardhan Hill, and with his right hand, he placed his flute to his mouth and started playing wonderful, sweet songs to enchant the hearts of all of his devotees. As Krishna started to play the flute, Madhu Mangal cried out, "Don't play your flute! We have all seen the effect that your flute has on your devotees. Govardhana is Haridasvarya. He's the best of all your devotees. If he hears your enchanting flute, he may fall unconscious and fall off your finger and crush everybody. And another Gopa was thinking out loud. He said, we have seen that when Krishna plays his flute, liquid objects like ponds become solid and mountains melt. If the sweet song of Krishna's flute causes Giriraj to melt in ecstasy, then we will all be destroyed. And another Gopa said, no, no, Govardhana is very sober. He will not melt. Krishna will protect. And meanwhile, Krishna was glancing at all of his devotees as he was playing his beautiful flute. And our acharyas tell us that Krishna gazed upon the beauty of Sri Radharani, and she showered upon him the sweet love through her glance. And Krishna, experiencing the love of Sri Radha, his own pleasure potency, he began to tremble. And as he trembled, the cowherd men were thinking, Govardhana Hill is about to fall. Krishna's getting tired. And Krishna said, oh, my mother, if it makes you, I'm not hungry and I'm not thirsty and I'm not tired, but if it makes you happy, I will eat your cakes. And Madhu Mangal said, yes, yes. And then we will all eat her cakes. This way, there was such a beautiful festival beneath the Govardhana Hill. In all those 7 days and 7 nights, the Samvartaka clouds came back to Indra with a report that with all the winds and all the rains and all the thunderbolts, we could not slightly move a single grain of dust from Govardhana Hill. Out of the hundreds of billions of leaves on the trees of Govardhana Hill, we could not separate a single leaf from a tree. We could not uproot even one tiny blade of grass. And we're totally exhausted. We can't do anything else. We're crippled. We give up, Indra. We can't do it anymore. That only made Indra even more angry. And with his wind gods and with himself, he just increased until he was totally exhausted, and he saw how Krishna can totally deflate a person's pride. Thoroughly. Can you imagine? He couldn't move a grain of dust. Even when Krishna first went to lift Govardhana Hill, just to make Indra really feel himself insignificant, before lifting Govardhana Hill, Krishna didn't even bother to tighten his belt, which he would do to practically any other demon he would attacked. After 7 days and 7 nights, as the Brajvasis were just gazing at this Tribhanga form, threefold bending form of Krishna playing his flute while lifting the Govardhana Hill. Indra realized that this little boy is the supreme personality of Godhead. And I am so ignorant, so foolish, that I'm condemning him saying that he's telling the Brajvasis to worship a hill instead of me, God. He's God. Indra, it is explained that those 7 days for Indra were like 7 millenniums of intense, agonizing pain. But for the Brajvasis under the hill, those 7 days were like 7 hours of ecstatic happiness. Yegatamam prapajante. Krishna reveals himself according to how we approach him. Indra wanted to devastate Vrindavan, but in the end, it was Indra who was devastated. And in shame, he left that place. The clouds went away, the rain stopped, and the sun came out. Nobody wanted to leave. You see, the Gopas would be in separation from Krishna all night, waiting for the next morning. The cows and the calves the same way. Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj, they would be in separation from Krishna all day when he would be herding the cows, waiting for him to come back at night. So this Sambhog and Vipralamba was always activating and interacting to increase the ecstasies of the loving relationships between Krishna and devotees. But for the first and only time, during this Giriraj Leela, everyone was constantly with Krishna. And everyone was feeling Krishna's love intimately, specially, only for them. Krishna smiled and said, now the rains have stopped and everyone is safe, so you can return to your homes. With great difficulty, they embraced Krishna in their heart of hearts, and they went to their homes. And the cows and the calves left, but it was just irresistible. They all ran back onto the hill to be with Krishna again. And Krishna, with his glance, he herded them out from the hill. And then, effortlessly, as he lifted Giriraj, he placed Govardhana down exactly where he had picked him up from. And then they all returned to their homes, and they were all exclaiming, how wonderful is Krishna! All that could be heard throughout the whole Braj Bhumi was the chanting of Krishna's glories and his holy names. Krishna came out from Govardhan Hill, everyone expressed their love and gratitude according to their relationships. Krishna's seniors, they embraced him, they kissed him. For the Brahmins, they came and chanted mantras to bless him. For his friends, they embraced him and they joked with him and they danced with him. And the gopis, from a little distance away, they just enshrined him within their heart of hearts, and he did the same for them. Yashoda Mai She started massaging Krishna's finger and kissing it. Oh, it must have hurt so much long time. You were holding up a big mountain, and she was massaging his arms. Yashoda, Rohini, Nanda Maharaj, and Balaram, they showered Krishna with such affection. The Gopas, the elder Gopas, they went to meet Nanda Maharaj. Please tell us, how is this possible? Krishna's just a 7-year-old little boy whose body is soft like butter, and yet not only did he lift the Govardhana hill for 7 days, but he completely conquered Indra, the king of heaven. How is this possible? We've been noticing these things about Krishna since his birth. He sucked the breast of that gigantic Rakshashi Putana. And then that demon who came as a ghost of Shakatasura with his little tiny lotus foot, he kicked and destroyed him. This is interesting. This is a speciality of Vrindavan's Leela. Krishna doesn't have to exert himself to kill demons. Shakatasura was one of the most powerful of all demons. Now, when Vamana Dev wanted to conquer Bali Maharaj, he expanded to such an incredible size to take 2 massive steps. To take those 2 steps, he had to become that big to cover the universe. When the Lord wanted to liberate Hiranyakashipu, he took the form of Narasimhadev, and he fought with him for hours and hours before tearing him up with his nails. Krishna did the same thing to a demon that was just as powerful. He didn't become big. He didn't become hard. He just, as a little tiny baby with a soft little lotus foot, he just touched the cart with the tip of the toe of his foot and destroyed him. Shri Krishna Bhagavan ki jai. The Gopas were saying, we have seen Tranavarta and Bakasura and Vatsasura and how he subdued Kaliya and Dhenukasura. And now what we saw today, how is this possible? Can you tell us, Nanda Maharaj, who is your son? Srila Prabhupada named the chapter of this Srimad Bhagavatam, Wonderful Krishna. Nanda Maharaj told that when Garga Muni performed the name-giving ceremony, he secretly told me these words, that this son, he comes in different ages with different colors, sometimes white, sometimes red, sometimes yellow. Now he's come in this blackish form. And he comes to annihilate all obstacles, he's the friend of the demigods. He removes all inauspiciousness. He's the protector of his devotees. And he's as good as Lord Narayan. So all the cowherd men, they were thinking, oh, that's it. Our little Krishna is empowered by Narayan. So they were satisfied. And they all went home. And meanwhile, Giridhari, he understood the condition of Indra. Indra was beside himself in guilt and grief. Because Krishna's his guru. Krishna's his worshipable Lord, and he made such an offense. he was approached by his own, the guru of the demigods, Brajvasis. And Indra said, what am I going to do? And Brajvasis said, you are such an ignorant fool, Indra. What have you done? Intoxicated by your power, by your opulence of wealth, by your fame, look what you've done. I don't know what to tell you, but you should go to Lord Brahma. He's the only one who can help. Indra went to Lord Brahma, seeking some guidance. And Brahma said, recently I also made some mistakes with Krishna. I stole all his calves and all his cowherd boys. I'm not in a position to tell you what to do, but I can tell you what you should do. Krishna loves the cows. So go to Surabhi. There is a material planet in this universe called Goloka, where Surabhi is the presiding mother of the cows. If she begs for Krishna to forgive you, then Krishna will forgive you. So here is the king of heaven, Indra, the leader of the Devatas, the wielder of the thunderbolt, who's falling at the lotus-like hooves of a mother cow. This is humbling for Indra, but it's just what he needed. And he's begging this mother to save him because she loves Krishna and Krishna loves her. This is a very important principle. In this world, all of us have made countless offenses due to false pride, trying to be the controller, the enjoyer, the proprietor. Krishna will hear our prayers if we humble ourselves before those who Krishna loves. Surabhi said, let us go to Vrindavan. And Indra was behind her. Krishna didn't want to further humiliate Indra any longer. He already had enough of this medicine. So Krishna went to a secluded place. At the Govardhana Parikrama, there is a place called Surabhi Kund. Surabhi told Indra, you wait here. Surabhi went before Krishna. And Krishna was very, very happy to see her. And she said, Indra has performed grievous offenses, but he's feeling deeply repentant. He's your devotee. Please let him come to you and forgive him. And then Surabhi went and told Indra, now you go before Krishna and you surrender to him. When a devotee on our behalf prays for Krishna to forgive us and accept us, if we are sincere, like Indra was, then Krishna will forgive and accept us. We began the Yatra by quoting Srila Prabhupada. He was asked, what was our qualification to receive this most elevated spiritual knowledge and the highest opportunities for prema bhakti? Srila Prabhupada said, you had no qualifications. I made your qualifications. Srila Prabhupada is speaking about Srimati Radharani. She says, if we become this, he said, if we become the servant of the servant of the servant of Srimati Radharani, then Radharani will come before Krishna and say, please accept this devotee. He or she is better than me. And when Srimati Radharani asks Krishna that, then Krishna naturally, on the power of her love, must accept us. And the power of Srila Prabhupada's love, Sri Radharani and Krishna will naturally accept us. He's given us everything in loving service. So two things are required: the intervention of a lover of Krishna and our own sincerity. Surabhi pleaded on behalf of Indra, and then Krishna opened his heart to receive Indra. And Krishna sees what's in the heart. Indra placed his crowned head on Krishna's feet. Even though he had the jewels of his crown of the King of Heaven, the beautiful light of the jewels of Krishna's toenails made Indra's crown insignificant. King of Heaven falling down, and Krishna's just a little cowherd boy roaming through the forest. And Indra offered beautiful prayers. You are the Supreme Lord, the cause of all causes. You descend to this world to annihilate the ignorance and the darkness and to protect your devotees. And you have so expertly, mercifully protected me. Because of my power and my fame and my prestige, because of all the wealth that I'm surrounded by and all the enjoyments that are at my disposal, I became so proud, so intoxicated, that I turned envious and violent toward you and your devotees. But you are so kind that you performed this beautiful pastime as Girivaradari just to crush that pride, and now I'm standing before you as your eternal loving servant. Please accept me. Indra was grateful for the punishment he received. Tatenu kampam susamikshimano. This is a principle. When we are grateful for the purifications or the punishments or the rectifications that Krishna gives us, however painful they may be, then we are actually candidates to receive Krishna's full mercy. Indra was humiliated. He was totally defeated, but he was grateful. Srila Prabhupada describes the first meeting with his Guru Maharaj. It's a very different situation, but it's so interesting to hear. Giriraj Maharaj was talking about it. That on the first meeting with Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada presented certain arguments to him, and Prabhupada, with such gratitude, with such joy, he would say, and I'm happy to tell you, my Guru Maharaj defeated me. To be grateful, to be defeated by Krishna, by the Vaishnavas, is a qualification. And that was Indra's qualification. he surrendered. And Krishna told Indra, yes, I had to smash your false ego. Now go back to your abode. I'm not going to take away your post. Whatever you're doing, I'm giving you the post. I'm giving you the power to do it. I'm not going to take it away. Rectify yourself. Go back, but don't become arrogant anymore. Be sober. This is Krishna's definition of being sober, to be humble. Because ego is an intoxication. It's the worst of all intoxications. To be sober spiritually means to be humble. Trinadapi sunichena, taror ibase hishnuna. Amani namana dena kirtaniya sadahari. Then Surabhi approached Krishna and said, as the mother of the cows, we don't need Indras like this one. We want you, Krishna, to be our Indra. So we want to perform the Abhishekam to coronate you as our king. And Krishna accepted it. And Surabhi, with the milk from her udder and the Surabhi cows, they bathed Krishna. And Indra had Airavata bring water from the Akash Ganga of the heavenly worlds to offer Abhishekam to Krishna. And there was a beautiful, beautiful Abhishekam. And Krishna's eternal name from the spiritual world of Goloka descended at that time. And Krishna was then given the name here in Gokul, Vrindavan, Govinda. Lord Shiva came, Lord Brahma came, the wives of the Devas and the Rishis came. They performed this incredible Abhishekam, and they installed Krishna on a beautiful throne, and they offered him wonderful artis, and each of the Devas were giving Krishna special gifts. And then they all went back to their abodes with great happiness. And the little cowherd boys, they happened to come by, and they saw these heavenly chamaras and these heavenly paraphernalia for artis. And they just, in a playful way, they called Balaram and put Krishna on a little throne of stones with Balaram, and they started offering all of these things to Krishna and smiling and laughing and making jokes. And when the demigods looked down and they saw the intimacy of the love that the Gopas were offering their worship of Krishna, the demigods realized that our worship was devoid of any real love at all. And then Nanda and Yashoda came with the older cowherd men and cowherd ladies. And they saw this incredible paraphernalia, and the Gopas were just playing with it all, having games. And they said, what's happening here? And Sridhama said, well, this was all laying here, so we're all playing with Krishna with it. And Madhu Mangal said, should I tell you what I saw? I saw a talking cow. And then I saw this big person with thousands of eyes and crowns bowing down to Krishna. And then I saw a person with 4 heads and another person with 5 heads with folded palms offering prayers to Krishna. And then the Brajvasis told Yashoda my loving parental affection. She offered arti to Krishna, not as the Supreme Lord like the demigods were doing, but she was offering for Krishna's protection and for Krishna's happiness. Govardhana Puja is a pastime that Krishna performed so that for all time to come, we could look forward to this day for the most joyous, beautiful festival, to be together, to remember Krishna with love, to pray to Krishna with love, to learn all these invaluable lessons of pure devotional service, and to loudly chant the holy name.